This golf tip sucks. Your mum, your dad, your grandma, we've all heard it. There's classic iterations of it. Keep your head down. I lifted my head. I looked too early. All of those swing thoughts are absolutely killing your ability to rotate and locking up your golf swing. Let's talk it through. So why exactly is keeping your head down killing your golf swing? Well, it impacts our ability to turn. When I think, all right, I've got to keep my head down post impact because all of my friends told me that I have a tendency to lift, all I'm going to naturally do is tighten up my core, tighten up my arms, keep my head down post impact, and it's going to lead to big chunks like that. Okay, it's kind of unavoidable. The other thing that it can cause as well is actually lifting your head, ironically, through impact. So let's think about it. If I take this club back and I'm working so hard to keep my head fixed in place, right? As I start to bring this club down, my chest, my hips, they're not gonna turn. So that means I'm gonna get stuck. Again, I'm gonna hit that really, really chunky if I'm not aware of it. So instead, what does my body do? Well, it notices that it's quite cramped in this position. So from here, my sternum will move a little bit further away from the golf ball to create some room for my hands to pass. So now all of a sudden, we have our chunks and we have our thin strikes. Not to mention, you're keeping your head down, your body stands up, you top the ball, you thin the golf ball, and all of that is based on a reaction, okay? Again, my body is feeling that it is cramped and it is standing up to accommodate for that lack of room. And now the irony here is you hit that shot and your friend immediately goes up, you lifted your head. And you think, damn, I can't get this right. Maybe I am lifting my head. So you're working again, really, really hard to keep that head down, which again is limiting our ability to turn. And now when that's happening, ironically, we're just making that problem a whole lot worse than it needs to be, okay? We can quickly look at a couple of models here. We're looking at Nelly, Korda, and Xander Schauffele. Now you're gonna notice, and I agree, that as they strike the ball, their head is down, it's at the ball. But as their shoulders come through, particularly their trail shoulder, their head is gonna follow that trail shoulder into a finished position. And as we know, every pro on the planet has a different golf swing. They all look different in that backswing. But one thing that is synonymous, in fact, it's like the PGA Tour logo, is that finished position. Okay, and I don't see many pros with the finished position here, where I'm kind of stunted, I'm struggling to turn through impact. I see them with their head up to the target, with their belt buckle and their chest pronounced at the target, okay? And again, very difficult to do that if I am keeping my head down through that golf swing. If I'm working really hard to keep everything locked in place, ironically, it's gonna make me swing with my arms and then I'm just causing more problems. Now, I know this is a very common swing thought. This is something that, again, is just a bit of a throwaway comment, but unfortunately, it's making it a little bit more difficult. Now, I'm convinced that a professional golfer and maybe his wife chiropractor came up with this tip, spread it like wildfire, because all this is doing is going to give you poor strikes on the golf ball and a sore back in the process. I'll explain why. If I was to take this swing back, keep my head locked in place physically, I can't get into that finish position that we've talked about with the professionals. I mean, I've got a little bit of range of movement here, but this is about as far as I tap out before I have to take over with my arms if I'm keeping that head locked in place. I can feel some stress here on this lower back immediately in this position, okay? So again, this is only gonna cause injuries for you in the long term. We wanna get into the process or the habit of letting the right shoulder come through and letting our head follow that right shoulder through impact, okay? Again, that's gonna be a much more freeing swing thought. It's gonna create fluidity in your golf swing and stop you from chunking and thinning the golf ball. Something we can do is grab a wedge. There's a really, really simple drill here. Grab the wedge, put it behind our trail foot. Now, as I strike the ball, my goal here is going to be to let that trail foot come off the wedge through impact, ultimately letting my head follow my shoulders through the strike. Again, my eyes on the ball, I strike the golf ball, my trail shoulders, of course, rotating through. As my head moves with my spine, I can get into a finish position. It is near impossible to get into that finish position if I keep my head fixed in place, because I'm trying to get my belt buckle to the target, trying to get my chest turning, but you know, this thing called a spine is restricting my ability to turn when my head refuses to follow. Another really simple drill that we can do, quite simply grab the club with our trail hand, start making some soft, nice easy swings here. Now you're going to notice, if I want to keep my timing, I want to keep this feeling of weightlessness in the club head here, I have to turn my belt buckle with the handle as it comes through. Now, as I'm turning my belt buckle, my head is following that club head as well. Okay, this creates a nice feeling of rhythm and weightlessness. You can see as well, I'm making really, really good contact with the grass. If I was to keep my head in place and move my arms through, it gets a little bit heavier, it's a little bit harder. I have to stand to create some room now. Or maybe I don't stand, I try to turn, and I get chunky. Okay, so really good way to feel the rhythm of what we're trying to do here. Again, notice my belt buckle and my head is pivoting towards the target. Now I come in for a full swing with that same motion. So it's a much easier and efficient way to strike the golf ball. It's easier on your back, which means you're going to play golf for longer because we're going to prevent some injuries that may be occurring due to trying to keep your head down. If you felt like this helped your golf game, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Feel free to check out my other videos as well, and hopefully we can train your game together into a position where you're striking the ball better, but you're preventing injury and having fun whilst doing it.